1 minute from now, we do have some possible news. Big time crack all the way on down, guys. I am going to buy this. Right now, getting a little bit weaker. I'm in on a dip buy right now. 508.85. If we go underneath this, I got to be careful. I don't want to be holding too long. So what is today's schedule? For anyone who does not know, today's schedule is pretty straightforward. It's very simple. Let's go ahead and make as much money as we possibly can. That's today's plan. So usually on Fridays, guys, I know that we usually see a lot of kind of like Friday sell-offs. We see the Friday volume fizzle out after the first hour. I want to hammer down to kick off March on a positive note. I want to have predictability. I want to have setups. I want to have probability. I want to make sure that we are trading with confidence. But I want to make as much money as we can on this Friday morning, and I want to be able to crush it. Team, let's do it. Let's have some fun. I am wishing everyone an amazing and incredible March ahead, and I'm so fired up to see what this day brings us. So let's talk about it all. Let's head on over to our morning newsletter, and let's break it on down as we always do. Traders, it's going to be a fantastic day, a fantastic month. Let's get this party started right now. So it says marching on. The NASDAQ Composite notched a new record close on Thursday for the first time since November of 2021. The index gained almost 1%, boosted by a late rally in chip stocks, and ended the trading session at 16,091. The S&P 500 also finished at a fresh record after rising about 0.5%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average advanced 0.12%. The gains close out a winning February, the fourth positive month in a row for each of the major averages. The NASDAQ climbed more than 6% over the month. So traders, what is going on here for those who can't, figure it out? We are seeing the NASDAQ close up next to highs. The S&P 500 and Dow are coming up towards highs. We are at the highest the stock market has ever been, and we are about to kick off a brand new month. We could see right here, major averages ended another positive month as the rally driven by artificial intelligence boom and hopes for rate cuts chugged along. The NASDAQ was the best performer in February with a 6.1% gain. The S&P 500 climbed 5.2%. We're still firmly in the disinflationary camp and the think that the Feds will be forced to cut rates by June. So basically right now, team, it is, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. It's everyone saying, hey, we have to cut rates. We have to cut rates, and that's going to make people start spending more money. But if we cut rates to make people start spending more money, then inflation just goes right back to where it was. So right now, traders, as you guys know, I think everyone is all kind of in the same agreement. Yes, the market makes no sense, but you know what? We're just going to trade whatever the pattern is. We're going to trade what the setup is. We're going to trade what we have for us right now. And, I will tell you right now, I don't like how the market keeps going up higher and higher and higher. But you know what? I'm going to trade what the market gives us. We have not seen any big pullbacks, any big drops, and inflation is still up at highs. Why in the world are we going to be cutting rates anytime soon? Inflation is up, stock market's at record highs, people are spending like there's no tomorrow, and people are excited for upcoming rate cuts that I don't think are really ever going to happen. It's because why would they? Right now, the SPY is still moving up higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. It just seems like no matter what we do, the market just keeps on climbing. That's kind of what we have right here. So if the market keeps on climbing, hey, even though we have our biased opinions, it doesn't matter. If the market goes up, we better be going up with it. So what do we have over on the S&P 500? The S&P 500, taking a look at our game plan right here, it is pretty straightforward and it is pretty simple. What we have is calls for me this morning as I see higher lows and ascending triangle pattern up to the record highs. As long as the higher low trend holds, I will look for calls. A crack under 507.50 and puts may steal the momentum. As of now, this is a rather clear chart setup. Last week, we established resistance. This week, we found support, and now we are building higher lows. This is a U-shaped breakout pattern. I'm staying ready and looking forward to a huge money-making Friday ahead. So for anyone who cannot, see this pattern very well, really what we have here is an ascending triangle pattern with a large U shape. What we had is obviously last week, we saw a very big climb on up. This established resistance. We know that this price right here, right next to 510, is holding up as our main resistance line. Then on top of that, traders, we do have our resistance right here, which we're slowly coming on up towards, which we're looking for a break. Last week was our spike. This week was our fade. Yesterday we found a bottom, and now we're starting to build higher lows. So we basically had about 3 days of climbing. We had 2 days of falling, 1 day of consolidation. And now what we had is 1 day of higher lows as we're starting to move ourselves on up. really this whole entire chart setup looks like this: spike, U-shape, coming back on up, and we're looking for that next leg and that next breakout. So that's the entire idea of this play, looking for that next leg on up in this ascending triangle pattern. And when we do have this ascending triangle pattern, everyone has already seen these pictures. You guys already know the ascending triangle pattern setup. It is about getting tighter and tighter and tighter in this corner to be able to squeeze and get a nice rip. It's all about getting tighter and tighter and tighter in this corner to get a squeeze and get a nice rip. It's all about getting tighter and tighter and tighter in the corner to squeeze and get the nice rip, tighter in the corner to squeeze and get that nice rip. That is the entire idea about the S&P 500, to get into this corner and then get a nice rip and run. So when I take a look over on the SPY right now, I can see that we do have our main bottom support line at the price of 504.76. Then it was at 505.35. Then it was at the price of 507.36. And now I think it's going to be somewhere right around that, 508 mark, 508.10. That could be the next, dip, buy, and bounce play before we start, moving ourselves back on up. So, the SPY today, I do want to be looking for calls for dip buys somewhere around this purple line. It could be right above the purple line, could be right at the purple line, could be right underneath the purple line. But that's going to be the idea over on the S&P 500 today, to be able to see a little bit of a crack and then bounce back on up and get all the way back up towards around that 510 mark. I also put this out here just to kind of make sure every single trader, understands this. I post this over in chat. 1 minute from now, we do have some possible news. So U.S. economic calendar, you guys can see right here, Friday, 9:45, S&P 500 U.S. manufacturing PMI final. Then at 10 o'clock, we have ISM manufacturing, and 10 o'clock, we have construction spending, consumer sentiment final. So 10 o'clock here, traders, coming on up. Is anyone interested? Because we know on Fridays, we're going to have to pull the trigger relatively early to be able to make some sort of profit. I think this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm giving everyone this heads on up because we only got 30 seconds. I am going to lean towards calls right here. I'm going to lean towards calls, go to 3 contracts, market order. 5,095 is going to be my call contract. 3 contracts, and I want to see if I can get an inverse head and shoulders pattern. See if this can get a little bit of a dip back on down towards that 508.80 mark, and then get a bounce play back on up above the VWAP. That's what I'm going to check. I'm going to see if I can keep it nice and tight, but that's going to be my idea right here. See if I get a little bit of a pullback, and then be able to get a nice little dip buy back on up. So guys, I'm in on a dip buy right now. I just got filled 3 contracts. I want to have an inverse head and shoulders pattern. We have a bounce play. Here's the head. Here's the other shoulder. Looking for this now to go back above 509 and squeeze back above the VWAP. So really, if anyone is curious and saying, Deck, what are you really looking for right here? This is a head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Let's have an inverse head and shoulders pattern. We have our shoulder, we have our head, we have our shoulder, and then we go on up. So let's imagine this picture and think about it right here. Shoulder, head, shoulder, and now we go on up. So we had our first bounce. Here's the head. Deck just got filled on the second bounce to be able to move back on up. Right now, again, we are currently sitting slightly in the green. Let's see if we can squeeze on up towards that VWAP area. But you can see the idea is there, what I'm looking for. So that's the idea. And I'm only doing 3 contracts, starting small. And then if we can break the VWAP, I'm going to add towards this. So if we can break that VWAP and start spiking back up above like 509.15, that's where I'm going to look to add towards it and be able to keep making some more money. So right now we're only up $100. Let's see if we can squeeze and break. Also, we do have SPX over here in this wedge pattern. So we do have this bottom support mark, which we got filled at. Bounce, bounce. We got filled right off the bounce. Now we're looking to see if we can break this wedge and take on off towards the upside. So that's the next idea here. Break the wedge over on SPX and see if we can squeeze on that. Right now, again, we're up small, nothing big right now. As long as we stay above 509, staying above 509 is kind of like my happy place. Stay above 509, we're doing great. Break above the VWAP, we're doing amazing. So I am on calls at this moment, looking to see, can we be able to squeeze ourselves on up? We had a great entry right next to that bottom mark, right? You can see bounce play, looking to see, can we be able to actually get that break and pop now though? That's what we want, the break and pop above that 509.10 area. We did just have some sort of news come on out at that 9:45 mark, and now we're looking to squeeze, and here we go. Can we squeeze and break the VWAP? Very close to squeezing and breaking the wedge. We just hit the VWAP. We got to squeeze above that. You can lock in profits at the VWAP just to be smart. That is, just saying, oh, Deck, I'm just going to lock in profits at the VWAP. There's no harm in that whatsoever. And right now we just came on up towards the VWAP. We're trying to squeeze above it. Unfortunately, we did not get it. Unfortunately, we did not get the squeeze above the VWAP area. I'm still going to give it a chance here, though. I'm still going to give it a chance here to see if we can squeeze above the VWAP. 508.85. Ooh, if we go underneath this, I got to be careful. I don't want to be holding too long. This is why I also only did 3 contracts, because I know this was a little bit more of a risky trade. So I only did 3 contracts because I didn't want to get, too risky by any sort of means. Right now, the SPY is still being a little choppy here and there. SPY right now, team, still being a little choppy here and there. Got to be careful. Right now, getting a little bit weaker. If this isn't doing what I like, then I'm getting out and moving on. Guys, it's not doing what I want. It's not doing what I want. Notice how I tried to get the VWAP break. It popped on up, was looking for it, did not get it. So I did not get the VWAP break that I personally wanted. And now it seems like there is a whole lot of weakness over on this market at this time. Let's see if we can still get our dip buy. Guys, starting to get our possible dip. Guys, here's a big time crack all the way on down. Big time crack all the way on down. Guys, I am going to buy this. I'm going to look to be able to get my dip buy here and see if it bounces back up towards like 509.10. So I am going to look to get my dip buy here. I'm going to see if I can be able to nail this thing on a bounce play back on up. If it cracks, I'm getting out. If it cracks, I'm getting out and just saying, hey, it's not worth it. But I am going to be looking for my dip buy here, see if this can get our bounce back on up. We have seen that this area right here, 508.60, kind of has been holding up as our main support line. We've had bounce play, bounce play, bounce play. After a monster spike, I'm looking to see if this comes back on down and then bounces back up towards around the VWAP area. I am in right now. I was down $450, and now I'm looking to be able to get out of this loss and put myself up a few $100. So I basically was just going for a dip buy here, looking for this one to be able to squeeze back on up. Good news is I am in the green on this trade. Remember, I was down $450. Now, again, you can see I'm kind of right around even. I do anything above underneath $450 is back in the green. Back above 509, getting back up towards the VWAP could just be a nice little trade for me to kind of kick things on off. So I do want to keep my eyes peeled on this one. See if we can get back on up here. There's that dip buy that I wanted. I am very happy with this dip buy opportunity. VWAP area, guys, we're up 800, guys, up $700, $630. Here's the VWAP. Can we break it, guys? Up $1,000, $1,200, guys. Nice squeeze, nice move. Nice work right here. Stay ready on this one. 509.27. Let's see, guys, we're up $1,500 now. $1,500. Can we break again? 509.30s, guys, locking it up, baby. Ah! $1,200 off the dip buy. $1,200 off the dip buy, baby. Perfect dip buy. $1,200. Made back $450. $1,200 in profit off that dip buy. See if I get a little bit of a pullback. Let's see if we can squeeze on up towards that VWAP area. I'm going to look to be able to get my dip buy here. Right now, getting a little bit weaker. We've had bounce play, bounce play, bounce play.